That hurt. More verticality. All right, it's segment 3. We're usually pretty bent by now, but I think we're both fine. And that's probably not a good thing. But that's all right. Because we've got more things to cover here. And one of those things are your questions. And why don't we start with one of those questions, and I will read it, and it'll be on the screen. And it's from Matthew Kolinoski. I hope I said that right.
Colonoscopy. Okay.
Brett.
Yes.
Don't do that. I said that in confidence with you. Was not supposed to be on the show. All right. And Matthew Kolinoski says, stop it. I love the content and what you guys do for the game in USA is crucial. However, why are all these podcasts so afraid to call the MLS? It's just MLS. What it is. No, the Major League Soccer.
That's a big thing, isn't it? People always do that.
They do it. I used to do it back in the day too.
But I understand. I understand where people are coming from, and they're not thinking about it.
No,
but it doesn't make much sense to do that, does it?
Yeah, no, not really. Look, it is. He says it is doing nothing for our national team. I don't know about nothing. Zimmerman, Miles Robinson, Matt Turner. It's not nothing. I'm not going past that, but it's not nothing. And then he says, sorry, but Jurgen had it right. All of our players need to play in Europe, not in the MLS. I don't know about all, but I'd like to see most of them go to Europe if they're qualified. Our shitty federation hires the worst possible coach for our national team. I'm sure he's a fantastic person. That's very diplomatic of you, Matthew. But that doesn't win hardware, and that is the goal of our national team. Actually, no, Matthew, the goal of our national team, according to Greg, is to change the way the world views American soccer. I didn't know if you knew that, but it's in a vodka. Vodka? Is that vodka? How does he pronounce it? Watke?
I'm going with Watke, but I don't pronounce names properly.
Oh, he's not German. He's American. So, yeah. He
know.
Probably goes with Watke, but in German it'd be vodka, which would be much cooler. Actually, it's close to vodka, and that's what I would really go for.
I mean, Germany is definitely closer to Russia than the United States, so you're right. It is closer.
I actually think it would be vodka. That's what I think it would be. That's a badass name if he goes with the German pronunciation. Anyhow, back to Kolinoski.
So just so you know, Watke's name is Chris Russell. It doesn't sound very German or Russian.
I wonder why he goes with vodka then, or vodka. Maybe he likes vodka.
Could be.
Anyhow,
I'm not doxing people, by the way. That's his Twitter handle is Watke, and his name is actually his name.
Yeah,
I'm not how you're doing that.
I don't think we're winning any hardware at the World Cup anytime real soon. We'll see about 2026. But he says, please elaborate for all of us. Well, I'll let you start on the why are we afraid to call MLS what it is? I don't think we're afraid at all.
Well, first off, that was the whole not a retirement league video, right?
Yes. That's all we said. It's not a retirement league.
We're right. We're right in that sense. It's not a retirement.
Unless you're talking about Miami and maybe the LA Galaxy on occasion. But other than that, no.
The Galaxy just sell their retirement players back to Serie A.
Yes.
And as we heard, was it K-Hog? Did K-Hog mention it?
He might have.
The new
I think he might have. Zlatan going there.
Yeah.
And Nani is now with Venezia. And immediately contributed and played in his first game as soon as he went over there. So, Yeah, I don't know about this retirement league thing. I mean, Gerard was a long time ago.
Sure.
And unless you're talking just about Miami and Matuidi and the Higuain brothers, okay. Other than that, well, the older brother. Yeah. I mean, I just don't know what players we're talking about. So if people want to get specific and say, here are the retirement league players, but this,
but to the question at hand, calling MLS what it is, we in the second segment, we had the entire segment was basically about how MLS is doing what's good for MLS financially when it comes to some of its players, and not necessarily what's in the benefit for the players. So I mean, we called it out for what we consider, a bit of crappy behavior, with the whole Gamtam and transfers and all that stuff. We're definitely not shills for the league by any means. We call it for what it is. We also talk about the good things that come from it. I mean, a number of players started their careers in MLS and ended up becoming very successful national team players. Even the current crop, or let's look at somebody like Aronson as an example.
Yep.
I mean, they're developing players that are going abroad, adding depth to our roster, sometimes key starters. It could just be through the development of the academy level. I mean, looking at somebody like Weston McKennie over at FC Dallas, he didn't actually play a game for the senior team, but grew up through their academy team.
Chris Richards,
Justin
Chay's heading over back to Europe now for Hoffenheim.
Hopefully Reynolds finds some team that'll pick him up here.
I mean, listen, the list goes on and on about how many of these younger players now are heading off.
I mean, Sam's literally Europe. Just jumped off the plane and played for Rangers. I mean, had a pretty successful game for the Rangers at that.
Right. And you got a bunch of the youth academy kids there too. Mendez. I mean, listen, like I said, the list goes on and on. So it's definitely not a retirement league at this point.
No.
But if I was going to say what MLS is, I'd just say it's our domestic league, and it's getting better.
Are there problems with MLS? Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
Yes, there are.
We'll call them out as we see them too. We may have a difference of opinions from some people. The concept of promotion relegation is always going to be a hot spot, whether or not you agree or disagree or think that it needs to be there or think that it doesn't have to be there. That's always going to be a hot topic.
Not for me. It's not, because it ain't happening.
It's not happening.
And it's a hot topic for people who've just apparently woken up and realized that, or haven't realized, I should say, that that's just never going to happen. It's just not, folks.
Well, and we've talked about the possibility, the only possibility of promotion relegation with MLS, and is at that point is going to be if MLS started an MLS 2,
right?
And they did an internal promotion relegation, which is artificial to say the least, but that's a possibility if they keep bringing teams in.
I mean, this goes back 8 years ago. I did a video about this.
Yeah.
And this is the only way it's going to happen. And I know a lot of people, when I told them, oh yeah, MLS has every intention of having 40 teams in this league eventually. You think that this expansion is stopping? I would say that. And people were like, what are you talking about? 20's enough teams. Like, no, it's not going to be enough teams for them, because they can charge people $300 million to get into the league. And after you spent those $300 million, those guys that spent the $300 million aren't going to want to be relegated or have any chance of it. So the only opportunity for P&R would be MLS 1 and MLS 2. But what's the point of that? If you have 40 teams, you eventually get to 40 teams in MLS, and you have a West and an East. I mean, that covers everybody. There's no point in even having.
I mean, you already have a West and East conference where, like, I'll use Chicago as an example. I mean, they're only playing like 3, maybe 4 games out of all their games against West Coast opponents.
Yeah.
I mean, it's predominantly them playing everybody twice on the East Coast and then picking up an occasional West Division team,
And if you got 20 and 20, then you can just go to a balanced calendar for East and West, right?
And then you just had the playoffs where they play against each other.
Exactly. So, I mean, listen, there's all kinds of things that could happen as we move forward. But I remember when people used to laugh at me when I was like, yeah, I knew I had an insider in MLS who would scoop me every tidbit. And I would go, I'm not going to say his name. And I would say, thank you, especially as he was going out the door at MLS. He doesn't work there anymore. He would
I was going to say his name rhymes with Arbor.
He's still there.
Okay.
No, I'm not even going to say what his name rhymes with.
No, I wouldn't either. Yeah.
Somebody's going to figure it out if I say it. So, but yeah, he told me, if you think MLS has any intention of sticking at 20 teams, and then when it went to 20, whatever, 4 or whatever, he's like, no, that's not the end yet. And I kept telling everybody that, and they're like, dude, shut up. I'm like, what? I'm telling you something that's relevant. Like, this is not over. This is going to keep going. They like money. You understand? They like money. And if they can continue to and then I even broke out. I did a whole chart of here's how the getting into the league fee is going to be raised every year. And I was fucking spot on. So I want apologies, people.
Motherfuckers.
I want apologies. So yeah. That's our response to that. And Gregg probably is a fantastic person. But he does believe that our number one goal is to change the way the world views American soccer. Why is that a goal? The goal should be to qualify for the World Cup and do as best as you possibly can. And if you do that, that will change the way.
Did he grow up with Bill Nye too?
I don't know.
You could change the world.
I mean, listen, the world's view of American soccer players is already changing. I mean, that's why you got Bundesliga's team signing Pepe, for Christ's sake, and Norwich buying Sargent, from a shitty Werder Bremen team, and Pulisic. I mean, Reina, Dortmund, Juventus, and McKennie. It's already changing, but that shouldn't be the goal of the national team. Gregg gets that wrong when that comes on the screen in his little presentation to the team. He gets it wrong. That's not his goal. That will happen. That will be a result of you doing well in qualifying in the World Cup. There's no need to make this. This is going to happen if you do well. So just your goals should be other things, but I don't really, you know what? As long as we do well, I don't really give a fuck how the world views American soccer. Do you?
No.
Do you care? I don't give. I grew up when everybody thought we sucked. So I'm used to that. It doesn't even bother me anymore when English fans talk down to you. Oh, you stupid Americans. You still call it soccer. Yeah, we call it soccer because you invented the fucking name, you dumb shit. We just had to differentiate it from football and from rugby, association rugby. So at least that kind of idiocy is diminishing a little. But that's what we had to live with, or I did, and you did for 20 years now. That's sort of like if you went on, a foreign whatever page, and you said something, and people are like, "Are you American?" And you're like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Oh, well, you're a fucking idiot then." And you're like, "Well, what the fuck? Why did I say something that you disagreed with, or am I just an idiot?" Because I'm an American.
Your stigma's showing. Now, I mean, the funny thing about all that is that, I mean, we grew up. We had a bulk of of our own population calling us names for playing the sport. Oh, soccer's for pussies. This, and this. It's just,
You're
football team, basketball team, all ragged on us. And you know what? Then all of a sudden, English fans come out like, "Oh, you call football soccer?" We're just like, "Could you do better? Try better. Do better next time."
So does South Africa. So does Australia. So does New Zealand. So does Canada, and fucking Italy. They call it calcio. So listen, people call it whatever you want. I don't care. You can call it, butt muffins for all I give a shit. We all know what we're talking about here. All right, we got another comment, and it was from Joseph Lemire. This is at me. Derek acts like a tough guy, but I doubt he would or could even possibly find his way out of a paper bag. Get real, buddy, and quit talking like you're a Marine or something. I'm not a Marine. Never in the military, but I am an Army brat. So I did make that clear to him. So at least get your branches right. But yeah, I think, and who was it who posted up? Yeah, I don't think these guys are too worried about, especially me, being a tough guy when I'm telling people I'm afraid to ride in elevators and sharks scare me. Good point. I didn't even think of that.
Well, I mean, sharks are scary things. You can't see in the water.
No, you can't.
All of
That's
a
why
sudden,
I don't go in the water.
Yeah,
That's why I just
Nah,
stay out of the water. I don't go in the ocean. I don't like swimming in lakes because there's snakes in that shit, but I do it.
Oh, I'll swim in lakes. I have no problem with that.
I'll swim in the lakes, but I have been bum rushed
Dude,
by fucking water snakes before while I was out there swimming at Morse.
So
They just come straight at you, and you're like, "Why are you coming at me? I want you to."
Go away.
I just didn't want to be attacked by you, so I'm swimming away from you. Yet you're now chasing me. Why? I'm way too big for you to eat.
Yeah, I'm not overly worried about snakes and lakes and stuff like that. We raft down the White River, so if I can chance getting cancer running through that shit,
yeah,
I don't think those snakes are going to be a big thing.
Yeah, they're cleaning that up though.
Yeah, they are. They are absolutely.
I'm looking.
Well, they're realizing because every year that freaking river is getting more and more packed, and I can't lazy river down that shit anymore because there's always huge groups going down in it now.
Well,
And they're like, "Oh, geez, this is gonna be a big money maker for us. Let's clean it up. Let's populate the sides of where you can stop by and pick up fucking beer and ice cream cones. Fuck it, and let's make it a whole attraction."
Yeah, well, they're doing the river walk thing. They're building that walkway along the whole river now.
Sure.
I mean, it's amazing how long
about time
Noblesville let that amazing feature of the town go to waste. Just like, who cares? We got a river running through us. Oh, fuck it. Who gives a shit? Let's pollute it. So they're not doing that anymore.
Oh man, our sewage treatment plant's overflowing again.
Yeah, and God knows what else.
Brilliant.
There used to be factories back in the late 1800s along the side of the river. I don't know what they made or what they pooped into it, but I just want to say, just to clarify, I'm not a tough guy. I'm an old guy. And guess what? This is how we used to talk. Okay. When I grew up, everybody talked like this, and maybe you don't like that, and that's fine. But that's, how my family is loud. I have the loudest family in the world. Maybe Brett can even confirm that because he's been over for dinner.
Yeah, it was a fun little dinner we had there.
Yeah, we are loud people. My mom is German. She's loud. My grandfather, my Opie, was loud as fuck. Like once he got up in the morning, that woke the whole house up when he was visiting. So because he and my mom would talk so loudly. So yeah, we're just a loud family. If you don't like loud, I don't know, turn down the volume, I guess. But I'm certainly no Marine and never wanted to be a Marine ever.
See, my family's loud, but it's always at night because we're alcoholics. So.
Excellent. Well, we're no slouchers over at the Ritchie household either. But what was the other thing? Oh, Breck Shea. Speaking of snakes.
I wondered if we were going to bring this up.
Yeah, we have to bring it up because he wrangled a snake at practice. He's like, "Oh, there's a snake, and I'm just going to pick it up."
I'm going to go ahead and announce the tweet that came with it, though. I forgot, it was JD or somebody like that, and I can't go back and find it now. But they had said like Breck Shea wrangled up, or Breck Shea caught David Ochoa.
Oh, that is so hard. That is so harsh.
Oh, it's funny though.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's funny, but it's harsh as shit. Snake in the grass. Treason. But yeah, I mean, he does it so nonchalantly. He picks up that snake. It's like, dude, don't you have like practice to do? What are you over
Maybe
here
he's
playing?
trying to get out of practice. Maybe he was hoping that he'd have to go to the hospital. It's like, I don't really want to practice.
Like practice is going on.
Snake bite.
He's playing with fucking snake, man. And then the snake won't let him go. It's like, nah, I'm hanging on to you, Breck. So anyhow, whatever you say about Breck
never hung on to a llama before.
Whatever you say about Breck Shea, one thing is he's a good dude. And he's trying to do the right thing. I think he was trying to get the snake off the field and put it back in some bushes or whatever.
They tried to put it into a trash can. It was a small trash can. I'm sure the person who's collecting the snake was going to go and drop it off somewhere else. But
yeah, maybe it was poisonous. We don't know.
Yeah.
Could have been just a large gardener. It looked pretty big. It wasn't like short or anything.
I mean, for Florida, I imagine that's got to be a tiny thing. That's got to be the smallest snake ever.
Well, speaking of braveness, I wouldn't have touched that fucking thing. you couldn't have got me 30 yards near that snake. I would have been like, nah.
I would have gone over and looked at him like, cool. And then went back to practice, but I wouldn't have picked it up. I mean, there's no reason for me to pick it up. It's minding its own business.
And I don't know
the bushes and the shrubs by the sidewalk. Let it be.
And I'm not a snake expert, so I wouldn't know what I'd be picking up anyhow. If it bit me, I could have died.
Like mushrooms, just watch out for the ones with lightning bolts on it.
So again, and more bravery for me. I'm afraid of snakes too. So there you go. But I wouldn't have touched it. What else we got here? We got, by the way, those Fisher Investments commercials. Have you ever seen those?
No.
Okay. So the commercial ends by saying, yeah, we only do this and that with your money. And we only make money if you make money because we're fiduciaries. When you hear the word fiduciary,
they're for douches.
Fiduciaries.
Is that a location where people douche?
That's a job.
Oh, okay.
Where you douche.
Okay, yeah.
Where you douchiary.
Fiduciary, yeah.
I always listen to that commercial and I go, yeah, you guys are douchebags. There's no doubt about it. I think that's going to cover everything. I did have one other thing to say, but now I can't remember what it was. So that's just going to have to be what it is. Segment 3, and usually pretty fucked up by then. All right, so we will see you. We're hoping for the announcement of the actual squad for the next qualifying window.
Depending on when the squad gets announced, we might upload it before this segment.
Yeah, it should be superseding this one because
absolutely, yeah. I understand this is important. You guys' questions, we take them with the utmost respect. And we were just talking about a place where people douche, but
and I also want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to Jimmy Broadbent in England, because he went from a sim racer to an actual real professional race car driver. And that takes a lot of balls. It's one thing to drive on a sim, right? And be like, well, if I crash, who fucking cares? And then get in real professional race cars and be like, okay, this is going to have to translate. And in order to do that, you really have to have a big pair of balls. That's all I got to say.
Sim is in like a simulation, like a video game?
Yeah, he was,
of course, there's a massive difference.
Sim racer, and he's racing professional cars. So it's crazy.
Even if you have those theater seats that vibrate during the movie and shit like that, and like explosions, sound around sound. I mean, big fucking difference still between going from that to going to, actually racing a car.
Yeah, no, it's scary, dude.
I'm not a racing fan, so even I know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary. I mean, listen, it's you could die. I mean, that's just a reality. It happens all the time in racing. So, but his last video, if you don't know Jimmy Broadbent and you're into, racing in any way, I'd check him out on YouTube. He's a great guy, super nice guy. Seems like it, at least. And his last video was about racing. He did a NASCAR sim, and the title was "Attempting to Drive in Circles Faster Than Other Guys." Always been one of my major criticisms of NASCAR. Circles, too many circles. Although they did a good job last season, less circles. All right, I think that's actually going to fucking do it. We've covered every nit and every little crevice and crumb. We've, listen, we're waiting just like you for this roster to come out. And when we get it, we're going to do a show about it. And until then, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma. This has been The Straight Road. That hurt.